Man here. In today's talking points, I wanted to, if I could, discuss with you and ask you a question about how ordinary, nice people can become vicious, bloodthirsty people with a simple post regarding somebody being cruel to an animal. I've seen this phenomenon so often on Facebook that it got me to thinking about why it is that we can see stories about humans being killed, humans killing other humans, and things of this nature, and be like, well, that's tragic, or that's bad, or I hope that person goes to jail, or whatever. But then you see one image, one news thing about somebody who was abusive toward an animal, and that person deserves death. I would kill that person. I hope that they die. I hope that they go to jail and die. I would, just murder that person. I hope they get run over. All these sort of just bloodthirsty, I want this person to die message. Not, I wonder if that person's mentally ill, or the sort of things that we would see for other humans, like, well, they should go to jail or whatever. No, it's brutal, the response. There's a game I've been following called Yander Simulator, and the developer suggested one particular method of killing somebody, which is what you do in the game, and making it so that the police don't discover your buried victim, would be to kill a cat and then to bury the cat on top of the victim. The dogs would sniff out the cat, the police would dig and think that that's what it was, just the cat, not the person. But that's not how a police person would proceed. They would keep digging because those animals are trained to find people. But nonetheless, people were just outraged that he would dare even think about killing a cat, or anything for that matter in the game. Although some people said, kill a squirrel. It's fine. Kill a squirrel, not a kitten. Kitten, puppy, cat, dog. You're not allowed to kill those. I think you would get a similar reaction if it was a baby. But why not the people in the game? And when we see it in real life, why is it easier to accept people killing other people or abusing other people, but when it's an animal? I recall watching this series called 30 Days. It was directed by Morgan Spurlock, who also did a Super Size Me movie. And one of the episodes was about animals and being a vegan or not hunting animals or what have you. And the person that was taking care of these particular animals had said something to the effect that they would hit a person over an animal. That is to say that an animal's life was to them more valuable than a human's life. And I thought that was a bit extreme. But there are people who feel and think, and I suppose even act that way. Human life is equal, if not greater, than any other animal, right? Well, depends on who you ask. But why? Why do we do this? I think it kind of goes with the sort of mentality of cute. If something is cute, we have this instinctual need to protect it. Babies are cute, kittens are cute, things that are young typically are cute. So we have this need to protect it. It's built into us. So even imagining a scenario in your head, when you read that article, somebody kicked their dog, it's like, oh, how could they do that? And you're picturing your pet, perhaps, or a pet that you loved in the past, or whatever. But it triggers these emotions of protection that, for whatever reason, humans don't necessarily trigger unless the human was a cute human or something, I guess. But I don't know if that's the end of that story. I don't know if there's something more to it that's causing that. But it is just a weird phenomenon that I've seen, that these normal, ordinary people who post things all the time about all sorts of different things, and whenever a post comes along, a news story about somebody abusing an animal, these normal people just completely lose it and want that person to suffer and die. But if you post a thing, oh, this, people killing people, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. And again, going back to that video game, it's like, people killing people, that's fine. Kill an animal? No, no. Not a kitten, not a dog, not a doggy. A squirrel. That, yeah, fine. That's ugly. But some people say, no, you can't even do that. It's a video game. It's not supposed to make you comfortable. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Well, I wouldn't do that. It's a video game. You're not doing it. No one's actually doing anything. It's a game. It's not really happening well. But it's animal abuse. It's not an animal. It's not real. Otherwise you wouldn't be killing the people, right? Have we become desensitized to human death? And that's why it's easier to accept than animal death? I don't know. Nobody posts a news story about a lion killing a gazebo and be like, oh man, that lion, it needs to die. I hope people shoot and kill it. Because like, yeah, that's what happens. It's nature. But, somebody puts a firecracker in a dog's mouth, which, don't get me wrong, that's horrible. You shouldn't abuse animals. If you do, there is an indication, a big red flag, that you might be a sociopath. That there's something wrong going on up here. Which is why that we have protection for some animals, but we don't have protection for all animals. And some people do think that we should extend the protections we have to farm animals. There's no reason that chickens should be thrown against a wall, even if they're going to be killed and served for food later. It's just this pointless cruelty and a waste of energy that could be better spent on something else. But I've seen those films of, the KFC farms or whatever, and the people throwing the chickens against the wall. Why? Why are they doing it? A long time ago, during one of the wars in Iraq, there was a news story where a group of soldiers had got a dog that wandered onto the post. Now, the rule was to shoot any dog that came in, because they could have rabies, because they could have all sorts of problems. So that was just the standing order, was just shoot them. Because they're considered a stray, they're considered a health hazard. But instead of shooting this one, the soldiers brought it to the edge of a cliff, and threw it off into the cliff, and laughed as it yelled on the way down. That was pretty brutal and messed up. And you can blame more for that, and yes, there probably is something going on in their minds where this is an indication that something is off. But that got a lot of negative sort of reaction too, where people are saying those soldiers need to be like super mega punished. Not just normal punished, but like mega super punished. Because they had dared to hurt an animal that was going to die anyways. Shooting is more humane than throwing something down a cliff to his death. But it's still, the thing's it's dead either way. Just one way is less painful for the creature than the other, or frightening to the creature than the other. They did get in trouble for it, but nonetheless, the reaction of people that saw that and read it was, that those soldiers deserved extra punishment. So I just, I wonder what it is about animal cruelty that makes people respond in such a visceral, angry way, where it's like, that person just deserves to die. Hey, look, they did something bad, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't abuse animals. And when you do, that means there's something going on wrong here, and that person needs mental help of some sort. And yes, their animals should be removed from their care and whatnot. So, because they shouldn't be around animals until they can prove that they are able to be responsible. But all that being said, that's not the response that I see. I don't see that person's, he or she needs mental help. I see that person needs to die for abusing an animal? Really? The death penalty? But they're not even talking about the death penalty. They personally would kill somebody that did that. I would kill someone that did that to my dog or my cat or whatever. Really? You would go to jail for murder because they kicked your dog? I mean, people don't say that. Like, somebody comes along and kicks your kid. Yeah, you might take to violence as a response. You shouldn't, I don't think. But you might. You might kick them back. But I don't know that you would say that you would murder that person for doing that. So why animals and not humans? I don't know. Why the different level? And the only thing I can think of is the sort of cute built-in evolutionary thing that we have to protect younger babies and things like this. But I think there might be more to it. Let me know what you think. Have you responded like this? Thinking about animal cruelty, does this make you want the person that performed it? Do you want them to die or to suffer as much as the animal did? Or what do you think should happen to that person? Is it always a mental issue, or could it just be that they were just doing it just because there was no other reason? But again, I think that if you're doing that is a mental problem, but maybe you don't think that. Discuss, as always, in the comments section below. That's the point of talking points, is to post about the thing that I was talking about. So that's it for now, and I'm gonna go find some puppies to squash. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I just said that for Gary, cause Gary likes puppies, and I gotta say the thing. It's between me and Gary. Like, if he doesn't post, like, then people are gonna be like, "What the bleep do you refer to, man?"